I watched a program on the tarot, and my husband at the time said, "Oh, you should buy a pack." And I said, "God, no, they're really ugly." And about 6 months later, I thought, I have to have a pack of tarot cards. So I went off, and at that stage, I went to Harrods to buy tarot cards. And I bought a pack, but I really couldn't work with it. So I just started drawing my own based on tapestries, medieval tapestries. And it was okay. It wasn't a brilliant pack, but it was okay. Because I had painted a pack of tarot cards, I had them and started using them, and they worked brilliantly. So I was reading for friends and gradually got more and more confident, but I didn't know what I was doing was actually tarot reading. And then when my cards were accepted for publication, I decided that if I was going to have a published pack, I might as well be a tarot reader, proper professional tarot reader. If you just take one card and we'll have a look at it. Oh, now that's interesting, because you've got a sort of similar theme here. This is the nostalgia, but it's a much more optimistic card in that you're looking back on these blue cups and thinking, okay, well, I'm in a different ball game now. Here's a garden, and I'm in the garden. Might have been a stony path getting here, but I'm now a whole different being.
Okay, and I'm looking back at...
Just looking back and saying, where have I been? Acknowledging yourself for where you've been, because actually it's probably been quite difficult. But now you're moving on and it's all clear. So it looks pretty good.
Yeah.
For me, definitely there's a link between tarot reading and art. My feeling is that they both pull from that deep unconscious wellspring of inspiration. I teach art at a local college because I love art, because, yes, I started for financial reasons, obviously, because you have to make a living. But actually I continue now because I enjoy the people, I enjoy teaching, and it's great. I don't do huge amounts of it, but I really enjoy what I do. You need to want to see people expand their own talents in art, and you do. I've had quite a few people come and they say, I can't paint a thing, and you're not going to be able to teach me. And it's like, okay, fine. Why don't we put some colour down? And they start putting colour down, and suddenly they realize that they've created an artwork. And the look of joy on people's faces is incredible. It can be learned. It can be learned. If you've got an interest in it, then tarot reading can be learned by anybody, I think. Just the same as art can be learned by anybody. But then you'll find people who really have this natural ability, and some people who will struggle all the way through it. But it can be learned, yeah. One of Cups reversed. Now, the cups are all about the emotions. And I would have said, in that case, there is love around, but it's not reaching you. Either it's not the sort of love that you want, or it feels as though it's been turned on its head. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it's part of the structure that you need to dismantle. But at the same time, it's a beautiful feminine card. There's all this pulling up from the unconscious, you know, the wellspring. And here you've got the snail guardians of the unconscious, all sorts of embryonic type symbols. And here you've got spiritual growth coming out of it. Still more ovarian stuff, clouds to challenge us, and then finally you got this alchemic sun at the top, which is all about wisdom and integration, really. So it's a lovely card to get. Nobody's actually ever accused me of being fraudulent or of taking money under false pretenses or anything like that. And that's probably because I don't. I offer a very good service. in that I'm concentrated totally on somebody. I'm really interested in what's the best thing for them. I would never lie to them. And I think that probably is reasonable, you know. How many people do you know that will really listen to somebody for an hour or half an hour? And not try and say, oh, you should be doing this and you should be doing that. It's like, well, there could be something here for you if you want to have a look at it. That's actually really valuable. I haven't actually ever met a tarot reader or medium who doesn't believe in what they do. In other words, is a fraud. Most people I've met are genuine about what they do and they really, really believe in it. And I've come to believe in spirits and stuff through talking to mediums. So you can give yourself that healing that you need.
Yeah.
And you can also ask for it to come down from external sources, if you like. Because these are real beings. I mean, they're not fluffy angels, but they do exist in a kind of parallel universe. And I checked that out with them a couple of weeks ago, and I said, I want to know that you're real, okay? And I want a couple of unmistakable messages. And I got them. I was absolutely shocked. So I know they're real.
They are there. No,
yeah.
I believe that too.
I actually think that it's quantum consciousness. Quantum physics has actually begun to think that you can't explain the mind and consciousness without looking at quantum physics, quantum mechanics. And so I totally believe there's all sorts of stuff that we can't explain with our current physics, but that quantum physics can, but we haven't got there yet. So I think that whenever you set an intention and draw a card, that relates to this level of quantum things, particles, whatever. And the quantum physicists have this term that they call coherence, when everything starts falling into place. And you get all sorts of odd coincidences happening. And people live their lives by it, by saying, you know, I need 500 quid. I'm in the red, I've got no money, I need 500 quid. And 500 quid appears. Someone gives it to them. That's coherence. You're in parallel with the universe, is what I'm saying. And I think that the tarot comes out of that, and the devas do that as well. Yeah, there is a big responsibility to read exactly what you see in the cards for a start. I won't work like a psychic, because psychics often come up with something that isn't in the cards at all, whereas I will totally trust what the cards say. Oh yes, absolutely. Have a look at that.
That's water. Is that water?
Well, it's not really, it's a being.
Flow. Oh, it's
That's the one I call Gabriel.
Oh yeah, I see now.
So it's still on the earth, but it can
Yeah,
fly and it's going to take off. So I think it's going to be fine.
Good.
Yeah, I think so.
That's great.
But for me, that's one of the most
It's sort of
uplifting cards.
Very similar colours as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So out of the sorrow
It's
comes
gonna
this
come
beautiful being.
moving
Yeah,
forward.
absolutely.
Which
yeah.
is, it could easily go that way.
Great. I think there are people who haven't ever experienced tarot reading, and when either the Tower or the Death card or the Hangman comes up, they're like, ooh! But then I just explained that it doesn't actually mean what it looks like. Death isn't going to be death unless it's surrounded by all sorts of negative cards, in which case I'd say, what are you aiming to do over the next few weeks? Could you kind of play quite safe? I did a reading for myself in 1985 that kept on coming up with the Hierophant and a love affair, and I was like, what is this? This is rubbish. Don't understand a word of it. And 3 weeks later I fell in love with a priest. I showed him the cards, and he sat there and he said, my God, they really cut through the crap, don't they? So I thought, nice way of putting it, yeah.